You've seen the hits, those slow motion replays that make fans cringe. But what if those hits weren't just about instinct and aggression? What if they were paid for? Welcome to the story of the Saints bounty scandal. This is how one coach crossed the line and changed the way the NFL handles player safety and integrity. Stay with us as we break this down, from the early days of the system to the fallout that made headlines. Also, big thanks to everyone who's been watching and subscribing. The channel's been growing fast, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Also, I've got a giveaway coming soon when we hit 100 subscribers, so stay tuned. Details will be in the next video. Now let's get into how an NFL coach paid players to hurt opponents.
Speak out against any bounty that is intended to be payment for inflicting and taking somebody else out of the game, because it could happen to you.
Yeah, I mean, but I think what we're talking about is there have been a lot of false accusations in regards to what the Saints bounty, quote unquote, was. And I think initially with the NFL's media campaign, I think it was portrayed in a way that, hey, these guys are being paid to go out and intentionally hurt people. And that was never the case, and it's yet to be proven. Unfortunately, I think the perception has kind of become reality in that regard, but I think that all that will come out in due time, and these guys will be.
In the late 2000s, the New Orleans Saints were more than just a football team. They were a force to be reckoned with. Led by head coach Sean Payton and defensive coordinator Gregg Williams, the Saints built a reputation for hard-hitting defense and an explosive offense. But beneath the surface of this proud franchise, a darker system was brewing.
As a sideline reporter,
I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, we are too.
how strange is it interviewing your dad?
Being able to kind of talk to him a little bit before and say like, hey, how's this question? Do you think this would be something you'd be wanting to answer? You know, it's not something that you can get with many people, so it helps me a lot from my side of it, for sure.
Despite his intense coaching schedule, Peyton makes it a point to catch every one of his 18-year-old son's high school football games. We accompanied him on a private flight from New Orleans to Texas and back again, so he'd be ready for preseason cuts the next day.
Usually the games start at 7, tonight starts at 7:30. They're playing a good team.
Okay.
You will see Friday night lights tonight. It's a small town, everything in the town will be shut down.
How does your excitement for this compare to when you're coaching?
It's a lot like last night with Megan. There's nothing more exciting than just watching your children.
As the team embraced its competitive edge, some players began to push the limits. Williams had a defense full of talented veteran players, and he made no secret about wanting them to play aggressively. Over time, this pressure led to a shocking culture where hitting opponents hard was rewarded, and eventually, that culture developed into a system for paying players to target and injure opponents.
The NFL has cracked down on the abuses, suspending Williams indefinitely for his role in an illicit team bounty program unearthed last month. Also suspended, Saints head coach Sean Payton for the whole season, and general manager Mickey Loomis for half of it. Meantime, the Players Association has hired an attorney to defend players against any possible criminal charges. But now, this explosive tape brings new pressure on the NFL to keep clean a sport so violent, and for at least one team, so apparently dirty.
Here's why we care, and we want to know that there is at least some effort by the powers that be to ensure that these are not modern-day gladiators who are metaphorically being thrown to the lions.
Josh is here now, so you've got to explain something to me. I mean, what is realistically going to happen next? This is football. Are they just going to wink and nod? What's going to happen?
They certainly can't. Again, Roger Goodell, the NFL commissioner, has been committed to cleaning up the sport and really keeping it safe for the players. You do have to remember, though, and Gregg Williams on that tape said something else. Never apologize for the way you compete, suggesting a business-as-usual aspect here. And you wonder, well, where is the line? And here is the line. In a hyper-violent sport, the players accept that inherent violence, but they do not accept the willful intent to maim, to concuss, to end careers, or much worse.
But he wasn't rogue, do you think, or was he a rogue coach?
In the years that I spent covering the league, I had several instances on several different teams of unofficial bounties, usually player to player, high-moneyed veteran paying a rookie to maybe knock a guy out.
That's what you have to wonder if it just goes underground,
Indeed.
more subterranean. Thank you, Josh Elliott.
Gregg Williams wasn't your average coach. He had a long history in football, climbing the ranks as an assistant coach before getting his shot as a coordinator. Once he arrived in New Orleans, he quickly became known for his aggressive defensive schemes and the fiery passion he brought to the game.
A lot of good teams, and got a lot of good memories, and looking forward to this. It's a good place to be, good timing to be too. Questions, go ahead.
Greg, this is a defense that last year did not live up to expectations in terms of production. What are your expectations?
We're always, looking to be as good as possible. And, one of the things on measurables is, as I talk to young men daily about this, is that when you put a quantifiable score on things, I want to be the best in the world as I play this game. I might get you to be the
to how you coach and how you deal with players.
It really has impacted me more than what people even can believe. And the 1 year that I was with him, he tried very hard to get me to go to Arizona with him. Back when you could tag coaches with a franchise tag or supervisory tag, they tagged me and would let me out of my contract. He pounded the Oilers to try to get me to go there. I ended up staying there and then moved on. And then when Jeff Fisher put me in charge of the defense, he wanted me to hybridize things from the Buddy Ryan family tree. And so what I did was I took George Allen, I took Buddy Ryan, I took Dick LeBeau, I took Bud.
His approach worked well, and the Saints enjoyed a winning culture and quickly gained a reputation for their physical style of play. But this same aggression became a breeding ground for a system that crossed the line, leading players to believe they could get rewarded for injuring others. Players respected Williams for his knowledge and intensity. Yet as the wins piled up, the question lingered. How far would they go to make their coach happy? The answer would come soon enough, and it would change the league forever.
Out there on the field, that I'm going to do my job so you can do your job. You're not doing it alone. This is 11 man on defense, 11 on 1. We're 11 guys going after the ball, and we all got to be on the same page.
You got to be able to block out stress. You got to be able to block out all the weird white noise, focus on what's important, and play ball.
Feet down. Get out.
The way he is off the field and on the field, he's the same exact person. He's going to give you what's on his mind all the time. And the defense is going to take his attitude. I was like, these guys are going to come out here and they're going to trash talk, and they're going to trash talk, and they're going to run. They're going to run to the ball. They're going to play hard, and they're going to play every down as hard as they can.
Drive, ball, 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 ball. That's the way to score. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We want that.
Ton of respect for him. The way he challenges guys, the way he holds guys accountable. As a player, that's what you want. You love consistency, and you know exactly what you're going to get from Gregg every single day. In your face, yelling, screaming, getting the most out of guys. And I think the most impressive thing about him is the same way he challenges his players, he challenges his coaches.
Coaches, you better get you right. That's not me.
As the seasons progressed, rumors began to spread about how things worked behind closed doors. Reports surfaced that players were being paid to make big hits, sometimes even bonuses for injuring specific opponents. This wasn't just casual conversation, it was a well-orchestrated scheme.
I think it's the other kind of bounty that is significantly more prevalent, and that is, you know, $100 for an interception here, $50 for a forced fumble or something like that. So I don't believe that every team in the league is offering players $1,500 to knock out the opposing quarterback every Sunday in the league. I think it's rare, in fact.
Why did this cross a particular boundary? Why is there so much of an outrage over this?
You know, I think it's because over the last 18 months, the NFL in the middle of the 2010 season, you know, had a horrible weekend where there were 3 or 4 very violent hits and collisions. And the NFL at that point decided to really ratchet up the fines and the possible suspensions of players for what they considered over-the-top hits. The NFL has been confronted with more than 50 players in the last few years who were suing the National Football.
There were lists that tracked rewards for key actions, knocking out a player with a hit, causing fumbles, and other violent plays. The troubling part is that players began hunting for these opportunities, shifting their focus from winning games to collecting checks for brutal hits.
Is he saying, hey, on the one hand, we're trying to prevent you know, these really serious hits and to try to make the game, if possible, a little bit safer. And now you got a rogue outfit, you know, at least.
Over time, the culture grew toxic, and that's where the problem deepened. What started as a style of play transformed into a system where violence was celebrated, leading players to cross ethical boundaries.
know what we had today was just on a chance for both sides to really speak candidly about the differences. Right now it's a lack of communication from both sides, and I think today we got to accomplish some of the discrepancies that were, let's call them the hang-ups really, that were causing all the issues. And I think now that we've had this conversation, we'll see what happens from here.
In 2012, the NFL launched an investigation into these allegations. The evidence came from many angles: phone calls, emails, and first-hand accounts. They discovered a scheme that detailed payments available to players for knocking others out of games.
Have to be able to show, no, we don't discriminate. We treat people equally, we treat people equitably, and they better hope that they've got proof to back that up.
After a congressional inquiry into allegations of workplace misconduct by an NFL team owner,
the NFL has a sexism and a race problem.
Tonight, the NFL says these allegations are entirely inconsistent with the NFL's values and practices. The NFL offices are places where employees of all genders, races, and backgrounds thrive. We do not tolerate discrimination in any form.
No matter how big or large or powerful or popular an entity is, a corporation is, you are not above the law.
The NFL says it's committed to a safe, inclusive work environment and will fully cooperate with the investigation.
This investigation revealed shocking audio recordings and documents linked to the bounty system. The league took decisive action to understand how widespread and organized this scheme really was. The findings shocked fans and insiders alike.
Respect comes from fear. This is how you get respect in this league.
Those words coming from former Saints defensive coordinator Gregg Williams, who has already been suspended for the upcoming football season. He's heard instructing his players to go for 49ers running back Frank Gore's head.
Thing in the world is to make sure we kill Frank Gore's head. We want him running sideways. We want his head sideways.
Disturbing is right. Along with suspending Williams, the NFL also suspending Saints head coach Sean Payton. He is now appealing that suspension.
Coordinator Gregg Williams, well, he is scheduled to be in New York to meet with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell over the allegations that Saints players were paid to hurt their opponents. Now, this comes as a report from the Washington Post newspaper says that Williams, head coach Sean Payton, and also general manager Mickey Loomis-Burton could face season-long suspensions. Now, the report cites anonymous NFL sources close to the commissioner, Commissioner Goodell, and says that the suspensions for the men accused of overseeing and attempting to cover up the Saints bounty hit program could be 8 games or longer. Now, when discussing this case, the report says a person familiar with penalty deliberations in the Saints case referred to the full season suspensions imposed back in 1963 on Green Bay running back Paul Hornung and also Detroit Lions defensive tackle Alex Cross for gambling. Now, they were each suspended for 1 season. Various national outlets report that Commissioner Roger Goodell could announce the punishment for all parties involved as soon as this week, and also no later than the annual NFL owners meeting, which is scheduled to happen the last week of March.
We don't fucking apologize for how we're going to play. You're here for a reason. You're here because we saw in you, and we hope we picked the right person that won't apologize for competing the way we have to compete. There may be better athletes, but not defensive football players that have to go into war tomorrow and play the way we fucking play. A mind troubled by doubt cannot focus on victory. NFL's a production business. We'll never forget about it. Where are we at right now? Got a tie at the top. Got a lot of guys up at the top. Kill the hit, the body will die. Kill the hit, the body will die. We've got to do everything in the world to make sure we kill Frank Gore's.
The evidence collected painted a harsh picture. It demonstrated not only that players had incentives to injure opponents, but that these incentives were openly discussed, planned, and rewarded. The NFL had to respond, and respond quickly.
He got 5 fucking yards on a 9-man front. What game are we playing? Checkers? Chess? Putt-putt golf? We're playing fucking football. It's real fucking simple. And it's effort. It's effort. If he catches the ball right there, you, me, and everybody in the room is fucking fired. Fired. Get your ass back there, you goofball! When you look at yourself on film and you wonder why I cut your ass, you look at effort first. I'm gonna kill him at halftime. Hey, get your ass in at halftime and get seated. You're on defense, get over here. We're walking around, get to the huddle. When you don't get in and out of the huddle, when you don't substitute, when you don't communicate, when you don't fight, you don't belong. And I don't care what athletic ability you have. Young guys, this is not...
Yeah, it definitely shocked me a little bit. But then again, this investigation's been going on for a while. I think it needs to just wrap itself up and end already. It said probable in the report. That's not complete, factual evidence right there.
So as a Seahawks fan, I'm disappointed, but not because I'm a Seahawks fan, because I'm a fan of the NFL. And in reality, it kills the integrity of the game.
Disbelief. From what we understand, we had a lot of variables, and I don't know, I'd be hard-pressed to pin it on us specifically.
I mean, of course they're not going to take any games away, or they're not going to do anything like put an asterisk by a game or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure suspension will probably be held down, be passed down, especially with how everything goes in the NFL right now.
I can't believe that we had anything specifically to do with it, nor did management, nor did any of the players on the field.
Oh, what, they got in trouble for spying earlier, and then that kind of opened the can of worms, because you wonder if other teams are doing it, not just the Patriots.
When the NFL concluded its investigation, the consequences were severe. Williams was banned indefinitely, and Sean Payton received a 1-year suspension from coaching. The league made it clear they wouldn't tolerate this kind of behavior.
The Jets have fired defensive coordinator Gregg Williams. Again, the Jets have fired defensive coordinator Gregg Williams. Stephen A., talk to me.
Well, I think what we need to say at this particular moment in time, I mean, I'm not going to laugh at somebody who was fired or anything like that, but it's clear that he deserved it. That was one of the worst calls we've ever seen. We understand that. But when you hear the things that have been said about him and you consider his resume, I sincerely hope that he has a nice pension plan and whatever, because I think this is his last job in the National Football League. He's been in there for 22 years. He was associated with Bountygate, which forced him to ultimately get suspended. Obviously, he didn't have the greatest relationship in Cleveland with Freddie Kitchens and Todd Haley before they were, I'm sorry, not Todd Haley, Todd Haley and Freddie Kitchens, but ultimately, he took over on an interim basis for Hugh Jackson once Hugh Jackson was let go, and then obviously there were some relationship issues there. He arrives in the New York Jets, he's running the defense, and you got players, numerous players, that were clearly frustrated, including specifically Marcus May out of Florida, 4 years in the National Football League, literally goes into
The punishments sent a shockwave through the league. Press conferences were filled with questions, and emotions ran high as some defended the culture while others demanded accountability. The ramifications were felt league-wide, as many questioned how something like this could take hold in a respected franchise.
Problem, a bad habit?
No, those are things when he's just, he has to go through the process with us, and I think this was a good enough shock that maybe he thinks that I might know what I'm talking about.
Just tackling in general. I mean, to get these DBs to use their arms and wrap up, how difficult is that?
You know, it depends on the size of the person, and also, you know, I'm not worried as much about, you know, the wrap-up part of it is about getting the guy to the ground. A lot of times, you know, what you do is you cut the guy. He should have cut the guy at that time right there instead of a 290-pound man running over his face.
When it comes to him learning to attack the ball or play the ball more than the man, something that you guys are going to have to try to teach him here, how's Denzel doing at that?
You know what? He came here and has already shown some people. I think Greg Schiano did a great job of teaching some of those things there. And he's been an example from day one on how to play the ball in the air and man-to-man, and it's kind of bled through the group. And I think Denzel set that example pretty well back in the spring. And he still does a very good job of playing the ball. He has a very natural way of doing that.
How about backpedaling?
Very good. Yeah, he's fine. All those things are good. And I tell them all the time, there's two words that begin with the letter A they have to own to be a professional football player. One's accountable and the next one's available. When you're not available, you're working on your training room internships.
But I mean, what I mean by, you know, he had a hip flexor.
That's what I'm telling you the same thing. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a trainer. He needs to make sure he's doing all the things he needs to do to stay on the field, or otherwise, okay, he's not a football player.
Every headline was a reminder that the pursuit of wins must not come at the expense of safety. Players, coaches, and fans all felt the strain from this scandal, illustrating how far some would go for victory.
There's no better thing than winning, okay? Now listen to me. That's why we have a Victory Monday. Listen to me. I'm proud. We're all proud of it. This is why we're here. It makes a plane ride home better. 1, 2, 3, come get some! Okay, you gotta enjoy these things. It's never easy. It's always fun. Okay? Very, very proud of everybody in the room. Fought our ass off. Didn't make it easy, but won. Okay, and that's what road dogs have to do. Okay? Come in and run, overcome everybody, win on the road. Fantastic. Now look, we're still in this thing. Okay, hey, we gotta have 2 more wins, and the most important win is coming up next week. We come back home, okay, we gotta be home dogs. All right, listen to me. Tomorrow you're off, but we gotta get.
For the players caught in the middle, it was both a blessing and a curse. Some players, like Jonathan Vilma, found themselves making headlines for the wrong reasons. Others defended their actions, asserting they played hard and simply followed orders.
He's a special guy because he's a coach on the field.
Alert, rabbit! Over!
He's a captain on the field.
Who gonna make a play? Who gonna make it, huh?
Last but not least, he will ride and die for his ball club.
Hey, we gotta be alert. We've been calling it out. You know, when it's run past, we've been calling it out. Only thing we gotta remember, 3rd and long screen. Heavy screen. 3rd and long screen. Shut up. Appreciate it. 3rd and long screen.
One of those certain players that don't come around often. They have a total package.
As the Saints get him, Bealey was sacked right around the goal line. Ball came free, and Jonathan Vilma picks it up for the touchdown.
Let's go. Come on.
Vilma's probably one of the smartest guys I played with.
3rd and long, though, we gotta be on point. Screen.
He just knows how to be a playmaker. He can get around the ball when he wants to.
Hey, swap!
Football smart, book smart. Now street smart, I wouldn't say that. He ain't street smart.
The scandal reshaped careers. Some players faced suspensions and tarnished reputations, while others remained silent as they navigated the fallout in public. It was clear that before long, relationships within the locker room began to shift.
Dogs on 3. 1, 2, 3.
The impact of the scandal was felt by all involved, and it highlighted an important truth about trust in the game itself. When money and incentives come into play, the meaning of football can get lost. Fallout from the bounty scandal led to significant changes in the league. The NFL cracked down on hard hits, launching new safety protocols and stricter enforcement of unnecessary roughness rules. These changes prompted a cultural shift within the NFL. Teams were forced to assess their practices and ensure that safety was prioritized. The days of incentivizing dangerous hits became a red line, stressing the need for accountability.
Admit what he knows here to the people who are covering it so that they do a better job breaking down the game.
If you ask him about somebody out of history, he will go on a long explanation.
Lawrence Taylor was like that. I mean, Lawrence Taylor, he knew what every player on the field was doing. Lawrence would go out there and come in after the series and say, Coach, they're not blocking it the way you said they were going to block it. Here's what they're doing. Instead of him taking me, this guy's got me, he's helping. I could see that guy looking for me. If I come inside, the center's going to come off, he's going to pick me up.
In the end, the league came to terms with the consequences of allowing an environment where harm was monetized. It was a reality check that meant changing the future of the game. Years later, the lessons from the bounty scandal still resonate. The NFL learned it must protect its players while also maintaining its competitive edge. The importance of making ethical choices became a loud theme in locker rooms worldwide.
I think any player who violates the rules are subject to punishments pursuant to the...
From Super Bowl champions to NFL outcasts, the New Orleans Saints' fall from grace was swift and stunning. The Bountygate scandal rocked the football world.
Football is a game of speed, strength, and power. But when those elements turn into aim violence for pay, it crosses a line. If you want more stories like this, deep dives into the game's heart and history, like, comment what video you would like to see next, and subscribe to Under the Helmet. Keep loving the game.